In a partial veneer crown, retention can be increased by increased length of path of insertion, increase in taper, making path of removal parallel to long axis of adjacent teeth, and none of the above. For example, what is a partial veneer crown? So you have 3/4 crown or proximal half crown or 7/8 crown. So these are not full coverage restoration, or they are going to take support only from a part of the entire tooth. Now, when we talk of an entire tooth as a whole assembly, we talk about path of draw. In case of complete coverage crowns, we consider them as cylinders. Okay, so path of insertion or path of draw is an important parameter. That means how easily can the restoration come out. In case of a partial veneer crown, you don't want the restoration to come out very easily. Now, although here the taper is minimal, the surface area taper is less, surface area is more, but the path of draw is parallel to the long axis. This is ideal in full coverage restorations, not in partial coverage. In partial coverage, you need some amount of additional retention form, and you provide proximal grooves to limit this kind of movement where the restoration is going to pop out. As the taper increases, the path of draw becomes easier, okay, and the retention form reduces. Now, because we are talking about partial veneer crown, the retention is already lesser since we are looting it only to limited part of the crown. For example, consider this here. This is a 3/4 crown. In this preparation, the labial portion is not prepared, right? And then you give a proximal groove additionally for retention and resistance so that you can enhance more retention. So because you are incorporating these features, there is already some amount of restriction with the preparation. You don't want to prepare too much and give too much taper, otherwise the crown is not going to sit in its place. So if you are talking about a partial veneer crown, the retention can be increased by, the first option is increasing the length of path of insertion. So if you have a longer path of insertion, that means it is more retentive. So yes, you can increase the retention by this technique. Increase in taper, that means if you increase the degree of convergence like this, it is going to reduce the retention. So this is incorrect. Making path of removal parallel to long axis of teeth. This is done ideally for full coverage crowns, not for partial veneer crowns. This is incorrect, and none of the above. So that is incorrect. So the correct answer is option 1, by increasing the length of path of draw. That means making sure that the walls are a little longer and you have more resistance like this for the crown to top over. Okay, so the correct answer is 1.